Hi everyone, it's Mickey here from A Pretty Talent and the Waterwell Ministries, and I am back with, what is this now, video number 8 in the series for lesson 3 of the art journaling course that we're doing. Today we are looking at Luke 11 verse 3, give us each day our daily bread. And there's a couple of things that we can do, but I want to show you. We are going to do reversed watercolor painting. So I have brought my watercolors here. Now these were drying in the tube, and so I have pushed them out of the tubes. That's actually how my nail got to be loose, believe it or not. And I've allowed these to dry now. But with watercolors, that's not an issue, because the moment that you apply water, and I've got a spray bottle here, the moment that you apply water to this, it will once again reactivate and you'll be able to paint with it. Now, I don't want to do that, but for that reason, I've got the watercolors here. I have 2 containers with water, one for cleaning the brush and one clean water. I have a flat brush. I've got my 2 watercolor brushes with the reservoirs in the handles. And then I also have at my disposal my water-soluble pencils, coloring pencils, and the, where did I put those now? Oh, my table is a bit of a mess here. My water-soluble graphite pencils. Oh, they're here under my papers. The water-soluble graphite pencils as well. So this is pretty much what I have at my disposal for this this lesson. Now I want to work on this page only. I'm going to leave this one for another project. Okay, so our daily bread. I thought of, give us our daily bread. I thought of doing this one, but I think the intent of the verse is more than just bread. I love the croissants, and I would love to do this one, because painting white is, it's never white. White reflects other colors, so you will actually be painting other colors when painting white. So that's a nice little activity, but I think not. I think what we should be doing, and especially considering that I'm introducing a whole new technique, is to just sort of select different fruit and compile those on the page. So you're looking for more loose standing kind of fruit that you can just do a compilation of. And for that you can go into your photos as well if you want, or you can even go into your drawings. It doesn't matter. The technique that we are using is this one. So this is how this works. I'm going to get started on it immediately. With watercolors, that brush was definitely not clean. You can see when I wet this brush, it still had some color from a previous paint job in it. Okay, so with watercolors, what you want to do is you want to paint your area first of all. So let's say we are going to paint, we've been doing fruit. So let's say I'm going to paint this carrot. I want to try and put it here so that there is a reference for it. I hope you can see this. Let me just see if it's in the... Yeah, it's in camera, so that's fine. So now let's start with this carrot. And I'm just going to put water down, more or less, in the shape of a carrot. And it oh my goodness. It doesn't have to be exact. Now I'm going to take an orangey color, and I am going to simply kind of paint into this water with this orange. And the lovely thing is that this paint will restrict itself now to this area that's been pre-wetted. So I'm going to leave that one be. I'm not going to add or shall I? I can, why not? There are two thoughts here. That you should let this dry before you do the leaves. Or you can just start painting and allow the colors to flow into each other a bit. And that's sometimes a little bit more challenging because when you allow that to happen, you relinquish control. And that idea of relinquishing control, that's something that scares a lot of us. So it's maybe not a bad activity to learn to do that. Now you have a lot of control because you're pre-wetting the page. I'm really so so pressed for space here. I don't know where to put my palette. Maybe if I take this away, that'll be a little bit better. And you can see that I am not painting anything as such. I am laying down color more or less in the shape of, but I'm not painting the shapes per se. And I'm definitely not starting with a drawing. Let's do this one while it's open here. I'm just going to start sort of painting with water that general shape that I've got going here. This is really pretty much a square, isn't it? With some rounded corners, but it's pretty much a square I'm looking at. And I'm going to do the stem as well. Mine is going to go in the opposite direction, but let me do that. And now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to start with my stem. It's going to be a dried stem. So I'm going to make it brown. I don't think I want it overly brown, so I am going to come back. What color is this one going to be? Let's go for red. Make this a nice red. A red green pepper. That's what they call them in South Africa. We call them green peppers. And I know in other parts of the world it's known by different names. I'm going to bring yellow in here. Oh, I am going to activate. I've had such a hard time letting this paint dry, because if you close it, it can go moldy, and I didn't want it to go moldy, and now I'm reluctant to wet my watercolors with water, but that's the right thing to do. Let's just say it. That's the right way to handle your watercolors. And now, at the risk of creating mud, I am going to come in with a bit of green. Because that can make all the difference. I like that. I'm being a little indiscriminate here with which is my clean water and which is my my washing water. I want to add a bit of sparkle to this carrot. It's There, I like that color better. And I also like the paint better now. It's more painterly. I didn't like the way it looked before. But having said that, I want more here as well. And I have to be careful because this is not 300 gram paper that we're working on. This is a 200 gram paper. I believe it's 120 pounds. It's proper watercolor paper is going to be 300 grams, and it will handle this kind of painting better than this 200 gram paper. This will be fine. It's a good quality paper, but it's not watercolor paper. It is mixed media paper, and therefore it's not exactly the same thing. Now, have I got any other kind of vegetables that I can add here? I don't. So give us today our daily bread. How about I consider not only our physical needs, but I also consider our emotional needs, because I think that is also implied in that passage. And so if I'm going to consider emotional needs, I am going to paint a flower. For that. You will note that I'm being very painterly here. Painterly meaning I'm not allowing myself to be dictated to by lines and conventions and things. I like how the yellow is spreading in here. That was unplanned, but it's a lovely effect that's happening here, which I am going to use to my full advantage. Now, how about coming in with a completely different color? Do I have a purple? Is this one purple enough? I think it's blue. No, that's blue. Some of the colors are a little difficult to judge. We are having a bit of rain here. And is this purple? Nope, it's still blue. And the weather is overcast, and it affects the appearance of the colors. There's a nice purple. So the reason I'm looking for a purple is to just add a little something else to this project, so we don't keep working with the same palette. I think that's enough. I'm going to add a little bit more color in certain spots so that I have a bit of variance. I like how these colors are running into each other. And now I think I am going to simply do a couple of blueberries, and I'm going to do a strawberry, maybe another strawberry over here. And what's this round thing going to be? Let's make it more oval and we can have a little play there with whatever we want to do in there. Okay, I don't know yet. I haven't decided. I'm going to allow the colors to dictate to me what needs to appear there. There are my blueberries. Oh goodness. Let me do my strawberries. I'm going for a different red. Oh, looks very similar. Oh, that's okay. This is more pinkish actually. Another strawberry over here. Maybe I can make this one into a bit of an apple rather. I'll do that. And then something purple, grapes. Okay, I'm going to have my work cut out for me to turn this into grapes. I will be able to. But because I've made it into one big blob instead of a couple of blobs, it is going to be a little bit more challenging. Now, this to me looks too stale. I want to... Oh, I didn't wet the page. I can't do this kind of technique if I don't wet the page. So something like that. I would love to have a little bit more freedom to be a bit more painterly with this, but I've run out of space. Okay, so now we really need to wait for this to dry. That's the ideal. And I of course want to finish this. But let me not. Let me continue on this side while I'm waiting for that to dry. And forgive us our sins, for we also forgive even... Let me just start over. This is Luke 11 verse 4. And forgive us our sins, for we also forgive everyone who's indebted to us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. And this is that kind of looking out for our fellow man, sharing with them, caring for them. It's the age-old question that Cain asked after slaying his brother, am I my brother's keeper? The answer to that question is yes, we are. We are supposed to look out for each other. We are supposed to take care of each other. We are supposed to be involved with each other. That's love. Knowing to keep our distance at times, but also knowing to get involved when needed. So let's depict that as flowers, and as bringing flowers to others. I am wondering where I want to go with this. Let me do this kind of thing. Okay, so I'm looking at one of these two. I like the multicolor thing going here, and that will work nicely next to this page. It's not going to be the same page, but I need to put it aside because there's no space here. Okay, which one do I want to use? Let's go for the spread out one. It works better on this kind of layout. I am putting down water. That's all I'm doing. And I am coming in with yellow. I like what happened there. I'm going to work on it a little bit more, but I'll leave it like that for now. Then I'm going to put another blob of water down. And I'm going to stick to the palette that they've got going there. And I'm going to do blue. Blue is an odd choice here, but I'm going to do blue. I like the oddity of that choice. This is a rose that they've got going in blue. Kind of like that idea, so going with it. They do then have a red rose, which is in this area over here. The blue's not quite out of my brush yet. And I'm going to try and pick up a color I have not. I have to wet this one. And you can see the brush strokes that I'm making, these circular brush strokes, that's going to start creating certain depths and illusions there already. Oh, and they might disappear, they might flow into each other, and if that happens, then so be it. Then I've got one sort of over here, looking like that. I got a very pale pink. I'm not necessarily fond of that. Let me rather go for an orangey color. Okay. And then that is honestly it. That's all we're going to do. But now I want to show you how beautifully this technique works. Can I just dab this a little bit too? I know I'm taking off too much color. Well, I'm going to show you now. This technique now is going to work like this. This one. I am now going to come in with an orange pencil. And I am going to start adding detail. And this is a water-soluble coloring pencil that I've got going here. Where did I put my... So there it is. There's my carrot. Let's bring it in here. And I can see that there's some detail that I haven't got going. So I now bring that detail in with this pencil. And then let me not. I want to maybe create a bit of a shadow side to this. So I'm going to come in with a darker pencil on this side. And I'm going to create a bit of a shadow on this side. And you can do this at this stage, or you can wait for this to dry completely. And that's pretty much your own choice. Let me do the same thing with the leaves on this one. So they look something like that. I'm being a bit painterly. You can see that. I'm not being fastidious about this. I want this to go pretty much anywhere, and I don't have to stick to the areas that's been painted. There's a grain inside the leaves, and I want to capture that grain. And so this is reverse painting, where you first paint and then you draw in the details. And you can see this is lovely. This is a whole different ball game. Let's go to this one. So we want to go to a reddish color. This is Crimson Lake. And I'm looking at that shape, and I can see that it actually has a let me show you exactly. It actually looks something like this. There's another one coming here, and something coming here, and something coming here, and that's more or less the shape of this thing. And does it bug me too much that it's not in there? No, it doesn't. I'll leave it be. I can fill it in if I want. Let me do that, because there's no rule here. I can just fill this in with my pencil if I want. Do I want to add more detail? Yes, I do. I want to kind of make this a little bit darker here, to create that illusion of an indentation, isn't it? And I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Now there, I'm going to do something else. Okay, so let me come in now with a greenish color, and I'm going to just kind of develop this indentation in the green. But I'm also going to take that over here. Don't you love how this is developing now? This is such a fun way of creating art. I'm putting my hand down in that painting. That's not ideal. Do I want to add more detail here? A little bit maybe. I'm going to leave it at that. Then I'm going to go to this flower. I'm sort of doing them in the order that I've done them in when I painted them, so that I consider the time that I've given each area to dry. Just sort of allowing it a bit of drying time. And I can now decide to add a bit of detail here if I want. What I want to do is I'm going to come in with the yellow again. Oh dear, this is the one that doesn't have a point. I need to sharpen this first. Now the lovely thing about these water-soluble pencils is that if I want to, I can now come in with my paintbrush again, and I can actually activate these colors if I don't like what I'm doing, and paint them all over again if I felt like doing so. I don't, but I could if I wanted to. And accentuate a little bit of green there. Okay. Now, let's go to those blueberries. I'm going to give this pencil a bit of a sharpening as well. And so when I paint these blueberries, I'm literally just adding the detail. Isn't it coming together nicely? I am going to show you a different kind of way of doing it on this side, because there's different takes on this. And I actually like that one better, but I like this as well. It has its own charm. We do that raspberry. I'm looking for a nice red. Yeah, this is deep vermilion. Oh, raspberry, where did you go? I never gave this thing any leaves. This poor raspberry is hardly a raspberry at all, because I didn't develop it fully. Now, I clean forgot about the leaves on that one, to be honest. I really didn't think about it. Oh, this is blue. They call this bottle green. That's the name of this. Am I seeing it wrong? I don't think I am, but I will. I'm reminding myself of what I saw on the raspberries when we drew them last night. Well, for me it was last night. I don't know when you did this. I'm just gonna, yo. I don't like this yet, I will say this, but I'm not done yet either. So let me start putting in those little now there is something peculiar about a raspberry, and that's they actually have white on top of these. I'm still not fond of this one. And because I'm not fond of it, I'm going to keep working it. Because nothing says I have to be done just yet. That's better. There's something I'm going to do that's going to make that look better. Okay, so let's come to this one now. And we said we were going to turn it into an apple, isn't it? So an apple, this is hardly an apple color, but why not? If this is going to be an apple, it has to be round, so we need to create a spot for it to be round. And then we need to add a stalk to this apple. And then we need to give it some variance, which it hasn't got at this stage. Apples are not this monotone. We'll do that. Okay. This kind of looks more like, what's that fruit called? Oh, I forgot its name. Anyways. Now you will see why I wasn't too concerned with this being a blob. Because I can turn this blob into a bunch of grapes without too much of an effort. And all I now need to do is to really, again, add the stalk. And that should more or less do it. What all of these need, every single one of them, is something to ground them, to give them somewhere to be. They all need to cast a shadow. In order to truly sit on this page. And not just hang in the air. And the minute you do that, this becomes better. I don't like this particular stalk. Right, anyways. So just adding a shadow, just adding a little somewhere for these things to sit. That makes such a humongous difference. I do need to add that, that shadow there as well. Okay, so there's something that I always think, that looks like a, I can't think of the name of this fruit. It's not a jackfruit, it's, oh goodness, oh my word, in any case, it looks more like that. There's something to say for the shadow, and you would have seen this now. Every time we start including the darks, the dark areas, and I can continue working this now. Every time we include those dark areas, suddenly our painting comes to life. And as I'm saying that, I am deliberately adding those dark areas. I don't really want to be doing it on this painting, and you'll see why. But that's when the painting really comes to life. It comes into its own. The dark areas is testimony to the light. The fact that we can see shadow means that light is present. Look at my pencil. The fact that there's a light shining from above is evidence This shadow becomes the evidence of the light above. You might not see the light, but when you see the shadow, that shadow is the evidence of the light. Now, I don't know what deep and dark and terrible things you're going through in your life, but I guarantee you that where there is a shadow, there the light of God is also present. God is light. Light does not exist outside of God. I'm not talking about fictional light like what I've got going here. Some man-made source of light. God is light. And where there is light, darkness has to flee. So when you see this shadow, I'm again going to hold the pencil like that. When you see this shadow, all you see is that little bit of dark. Everything else should have been as dark as that, and even darker. But it is not, because God, the light has cast out the darkness. And it's one of the reasons why I love art. Okay, so that's reverse watercolor painting for you. Now, what is another way of doing reverse watercolor painting? Is when you now bring in, and all of these are actually examples of that, because I think it is the preferred one, it's the fashionable one these days, is where you will come in normally with a pen line, and you will do a dark kind of outline or drawing or sketch or whatever it is. And I want to sort of point out this one to you. Can you see that there's only some semblance of color, and that the drawing far exceeds the where the color is laid down? You do not have to stick within the confines of the color. If you look at this one, this is a royal mess. And the drawing lands in this mess and makes sense of the mess. As for this one, as is the case for this one, and even this one, maybe mostly this one, these are more controlled. But it doesn't have to be. There's all sort of different takes on this. Now I'm going to more or less go for this one, but I don't want to use ink. I don't want to use a pen for this today. What I am going to use is my water-soluble graphite pencils. And if for no other reason, they are dark already. I have so little space. Can you hear me tapping on the side of this tripod? It's not a tripod. It's got 4 legs. Anyways, whatever. So that the camera is right above me when I'm working. So let's be as ridiculous as they have been. And the success of this is really these horrendously uncontrolled lines. They are little more than scribbles. I should have given myself green lines here. Let me do that first, because I'm noticing that I did not give myself... No, let me not. Because I want to do this one a little bit mixed media, right? So let me not. I'm going to tell you why not in a sec. So this one has something like this going here. And then they have brought this up and just down. And a bit of a swirly thing there. And they've gone down. And I don't have to stick to that because mine sort of dictates something else. But I'm going to just, yeah, leave it at that. Then this one has a swirly thing going there. But I think mine is going to have a swirly thing over here. Because I'm kind of looking at where my paint landed. And I'm allowing myself to be dictated to be by where my paint landed, not theirs. That will work. Oh, this one is a royal mess. So let me do something similar to what we had going on that side. If you think that's a mess, you should see the original. But anyways, I want something a little bit more here. Yeah. Okay, now that's the idea here. Now, honestly, they've included some green there, but I sort of didn't see that, even didn't take note of that. So what I am now going to do is to just dip the tip of my pencil in the water, and I'm going to draw the lines with the wet pencil, and you can see as it wets, it's becoming a little bit more soluble. Okay, so then I want to just do random leaves. This is not quite like this, but that's okay, because this is not theirs, this is mine. Okay, and I can color this ever so slightly. Ever so slightly. So I've just kind of taught you another way of using these. Not ideal, don't go into the wood, okay? Don't want to do that to your pencils. Those are very expensive pencils I'm doing that with, just saying. I'm, yeah. Oh, let me just clean this brush properly, because I want to just pick that up and kind of run with it. Not entirely, just kind of run with it. I think I'm going to leave it at that. Should I come in with a shadow side maybe? Yes. Now I'm just really binding these together, following through with the lines up there. And this is where I'm going to pretty much leave it. I don't like the fact that it's not grounded. So I'm just going to use my 8B here, and I'm going to ground these. I'm going to give them a place to be, but I'm going to dissolve that. Right. And pretty much these are very much the same technique with the slight variations, and you're going to like one more and one less, and that's fine. Or maybe you don't like either of these, I don't know. But I always figure it's always nice to know a couple more techniques. Now, can I talk about Bible journaling very quickly? This, or even art journaling and junk journaling, this is one of the favorite techniques these days. This is the kind of thing that you'll see all over. And if you were wondering how they created it, now you have a couple of ideas on how to create your own, and you can take it from there. I hope you've enjoyed this. We are very close to finished with this lesson 3, but I am going to still have to deal with, let me just go here, my surprise picture, which everyone gets a different one for. Oh, can you see that I've put my pictures in here already? And I need to deal with this still. I still need to come and deal with this one. So these are the ones that I've got left over to deal with. I am also going to deal with the backs of these. I don't like the idea of the backs of these. I'm not going to make this something terribly difficult to deal with. I don't want to waste time on this. I just want to put some finishing touches on this. Possibly do this one on the back of one of those. But I'll get to that in due time. For this video's sake, I can leave this one out because that's my next step. For this video's sake, I am done, and I am going to say enjoy the rest of your day, what's left of it, and enjoy the creation and the creation process. Let me bring this one back so that at least there's a nice picture on camera when we say cheers. Blessings, guys. Until the next video.